Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, thank you for coming out this evening. I want to thank everybody for doing so. And that timer is so important tonight. As we age naturally, we forget what a second is. We forget the length of a second, what a second actually is. And that every single time, every single time that second hand clicks, click, click. It's another second that we both that we don't know, and that also that summer moon Utah Wells is still missing. Today marks the 2-year anniversary of what happened to Summer. As we get started tonight, as always, I want to stop in here at this point and say hello to everybody. Make sure everybody is here. See who is here. Palm Patrol, I know that you said hello to me earlier in the afternoon today. Kathy K, thank you very much. Hello to you. Lisa Kleckner, thank you. Linda Wilson, thank you very much for coming out. Rudmilla Rickson, thank you very much for coming out. Teresa Nelson, also thank you. Chloe Jade, I think that you are a new person to my channel. Thank you very much for coming out. I appreciate you. Miss Justice holding down the fort for me tonight so far, and my other mods will be along shortly, I am sure. And we have Teresa Nelson, I did mention. Chloe Jade. Let's see, who else is here? Scott H. Thank you very much, sir, for coming out tonight. I appreciate you doing so. Janice, thank you very much. Denelin, the legendary. Thank you very much. Kate Yu. If I repeat your name, please don't be offended. If I miss a name, I'm so sorry. I do not intend to miss a name. Marie Davis and Diane Solomon, thank you. Butterfly Kisses, thank you very much. Dolores Hayes, thank you. Patricia Mitchell, thank you. And Miss Carrie Lawson, thank you very much for coming out. Julie Howard, thank you very much for coming out. Before we dive deep, I am going to do a little bit of housekeeping. And I apologize to everybody. It is not my choice to ever involve myself in any sort of drama. And I need to pass along a message to somebody. Sammy Sparrow, thank you very much. There is a creator that has completely mistaken and misunderstood and frankly doesn't like, and I don't care that they don't like me. What I had said. In no way, shape, or form was I making a threat to another creator. I was simply saying that if it were me in a particular situation, I would be looking at making a move to away from the area for safer pastures. I do not care what content you put out there. It's none of my business. Just as much as what I put on my channel is none of your business. If you want to watch, if you want to quote me, as I tell anybody else that does so, they approach me and say, hey, I want to use some of your content on a channel that I'm developing. I simply say, do two things. Credit my channel and make sure you're using the full quote in context that it was made. Don't chop it up. Don't skim through it. Don't make it to be what you want it to be. Use it in its full context. Thank you, everybody, for your patience with me on that one. We're going to go and get into Summer Wells now. Yes, Sammy Sparrow. Yes, that's exactly what I'm referring to, and I don't tolerate that, and they and we're gonna walk away from that one completely. We're just gonna let that be. I appreciate you guys supporting me on that and understanding why I needed to do that and put it right up front. Um, Chloe Girl, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Vet Girl, thank you very much. You haven't missed a thing. We just got started. What I was just saying, Vet Girl, was the nobody in my audience currently. It was to another creator, so you're all good. Let's see here. Linda Wilson, absolutely. We must remember Summer Wells tonight. Two-year anniversary, and we still have no answers. The only information we have coming out from from TBI is that it is now an age progression photo that, from best I can tell from looking at that photo, in my opinion, is actually aging her a little bit too old. It is aging her to be between, I'd say 11, 10 or 11 to 14 years old. Hello, Sugar Mama. Thank you very much. Vanna Reeves, thank you very much for coming out. It's a little bit too old, in my opinion. But I can't help but think when I look at that and you put a picture of Rose Bly next to her, that she favors Rose Bly much more than she does her own parents. Auntie M, thank you very much for coming out. How are you doing this evening? Sheila D, I didn't see you before. Thank you very much for coming out. Right, exactly. Neckmech is who also made that age progression, from what I understand. Um, yeah, so you're right. I still think they could have made her a little bit younger, and that way it's more true to what the photo would or her age might be, or what she might favor look now at her age. But I understand why they do that. They can't go and update every single missing child's case or photo every single year, unfortunately. We're here to honor and pay tribute to Summer tonight. And again, as I've defined where we sit on whether or not she's alive or she's met her demise, we sit on the in between of it doesn't matter if she's alive or has met her demise. What we want to know, what the Summers Army wants to truly know and deserves to have, is that closure. Whether it's recovery or it is uh, my apologies, I forget the wording I normally say. whether it's recovery or not. Summer's Army, who cares more than her own parents, in my opinion, deserves to know what happened to Summer. Find Summer's truth. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Carrie, for putting that up there. Tonight is not going to be on any bit of this person said this or this person said that. Recovery or rescue. Thank you, Miss Justice. That appreciate you reminding me. Just all of a sudden, I drew a complete mental blank of what it was. That word was. Tonight is all about 2 years. 66 million 100 excuse me 63,113,852 seconds. That's 2 years. And if you paid attention, that timer, that countdown I had going at the beginning for the 10 or 15 seconds of how long a second truly is, to a child that's 5 years old, that could be the most agonizing second or the most awesome second of a day, depending on what you're doing at that moment. The torture of having to sit still and be still in a car for who knows how long is what I mean by that agonizing second. Teresa Nelson, you're exactly right. You are exactly right. You are exactly right, ma'am. Teresa, you're exactly right. We're not here to celebrate. No matter the outcome of what happens, if the police do, and I'll get into my opinion about this in a moment, if the police do have a amazing story that's going to be coming out in a few days or a few more weeks, or as they're hinting at, they may have something they're not ready to publicly say yet. That's going to be the day that if it's a recovery, we get to celebrate. Or if it is, I'm sorry, if it's rescue, we get to celebrate. If it's recovery, we get to begin to understand what happened. Marie Davis, you're right. It's almost half of her life. At the age that she went missing, it's almost half of her life that she has been missing. That's an amazingly great point. It just give you context of that. Chloe Jade, it's exactly what we're all about here. The actual real story. Summer's Army is all about finding out, no matter what we hypothesize, no matter what theory we talk about, no matter what I think or anybody else thinks, finding Summer's truth is all that matters. Yes, you have going on around Kingsport, you have people that are releasing balloons, and you have people hanging out in Warriors State Park, or you have a church coming together for a prayer vigil. My opinion, but the only thing that would work is that prayer vigil. No matter what your religion is, no matter what you believe, no matter what I believe that prayer vigil is what's going to bring answers to surface. I am going to open up the chat and drop a link in just a little bit for anybody to come join me and what that may want to. I really wanted to leave it open tonight for anybody to be able to come up and say that what they think, what they feel, what they heard, or anything like that. Not so much of just what my opinion is. Robin N., thank you very much for coming out. Cat's Eyes, thank you very much. I appreciate you all being here. No matter your opinion of whether or not the Wells did it, somebody else did it, or my opinion, it involves something else going on 110 Ben Hill Road. At the end of the day, still, the only thing that matters is the truth, the Summers truth. I sit here and I remember, I can't help but remember, the moment I heard that 911 dispatch call go out. Stardust, thank you very much for coming out. I appreciate you doing so. When I heard the 911 call go out, and yes, I mean, I literally heard on a Bearcat police radio, 911 call went out. Calling officers to go to 110 Ben Hill Road. It's going to be the first driveway on the right. About Summer Moon, Utah Wells, missing. That call, although that is not my child, no relation to them at all. But any parent hearing that, their heart sinks. Their stomach is all of a sudden above their heart, in their throat. It's the worst possible thing that a parent could ever go through. The instant panic that happens. I don't believe for an instant that these parents ever experienced that when Summer went missing. I have a very difficult time. They had any emotional response at all. Remember back when that Candace was interviewed, that it wasn't that she acknowledged any sort of emotional mindset about the situation until she said she realized, she became emotionally involved when she realized how it was affecting her boys. Squirrely Girl, thank you very much for coming in. I appreciate you stopping by and saying hi. Teresa, I think you're exactly right. I think you're exactly right. They only fear the only fear they hold is for their own well-being. Amy King, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you doing so. Amy King, before you get busy cooking, were you good? Were you cooking good tonight? Debbie H, thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate you doing so. It wasn't until she was considered how was affecting her boys that she became emotionally involved. We said from the get-go that this family believes in a hierarchy. This family does two things. Lisa Mongreen, thank you very much for coming out. They were live last night. I don't know if they're live tonight or not. Hot damn, thank you. Hello, thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. I was saying just a moment ago that the Wells um, uh, kind of lost track of what I was saying. I apologize. The Wells only didn't. Candace Wells did not become emotionally involved until she considered how it was affecting her boys. That's extremely important. I believe that is so important that it shows that the hierarchy that I was mentioning that we started saying that we're very early on this channel. There's a hierarchy in that family, and it's not common hierarchy today. It puts boys and men before women. And when you have what society, the norm of society considers to be beautiful, when the female has those traits instead of having androgynous traits, that they're pretty much pushed out of the family. Reason I was bringing up Rose Bly earlier is you look at the photo that is now being circulated as what summer may look like now, and she favors Rose Bly. And I'm going to put it this way. Summer looked like she was going to be a beautiful young lady. And just like Rose Bly was a beautiful woman. Denelin, I've not changed my opinion at all. From day one that I heard about this, and I looked up all this the information as it was coming out, especially with the timeline information that came out, it's never changed. My biggest concern has always been the amount of time spent in that parking lot at Priceless. Drop and lock them. I 100% agree. And thank you very much for coming out. For 2 years, they have caused the fear they face for themselves with the lies, pranks, and disturbing behavior. Why would they leave The only summer knew, because they know what happened. You're exactly right. I believe that it is there. Hello, Dee. Thank you very much for coming out. I believe it is exactly the pattern that they have put out in front of them of every single time that their one of their children, or the LE or CPS in other states, whether or not they call it CPS or not, had always done. We got in a little bit of hot water. It's time to up and leave. Every single time they've gotten in a little bit of hot water with CPS investigating and taking away their kids from other from different states, they've up and left. This is a very your Sammy Sparrow. Thank you very much for saying that. The generational thing that you're actually speaking of, and you're gonna it makes sense to everybody. This generational issue doesn't start with rose blight. From the information I have found, and I can't concretely prove this, it's just information I've come across. There's at least 3 generations back that the SA allegations that were running around, and the Candace's brother was arrested on. Don Wells is accused of. It goes back for generations. Hello, Matt and Kat. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. Canadian Cookie, thank you very much for coming out tonight. Realized I missed a couple people's names there, and wanted to take a look, make sure I didn't miss people. I always appreciate you coming out. I am of the opinion that TBI has this exactly right. When TBI makes a statement that, and Janice, I'm not trying to point you out, and I'm not trying to say you're wrong. I could be wrong about this, but I have to believe that when TBI and FBI car team and all these others are coming out and saying there is no evidence of an abduction, there is no abduction. So the idea that somebody took her, I struggle with big time. TBI, absolutely. TBI knows more than we know. TBI knows more than we know. We can sit here and surmise what we know as a common citizen, and that's what I do. Sometimes, like sometimes somebody what somebody says will trigger something to me, will mean something to me, and then another creator will mean something else too. In the past year or so, I've gotten very focused on Summer Moon Utah Wells. When I started my children, my when I started my channel, my channel focus was not on just one specific child. It was on all missing kids. And please, anybody that's here that you like what you're hearing from me, you want to hear more from me, please hit that subscribe button, like button, and a notification bell. That way, you know when I go live. I would love to see my channel go over 1,000. I'm getting close. I'm almost 850 at the time. But here's the thing about my channel. You'll never see me put a Cash App out. You'll never see this channel make any penny off of a story about a missing child. Because I will never monetize this channel. Getting back to Summer Moon Utah Wells. There is a glimmer, Pandora's box. Is anybody familiar with Pandora's box is? Not everybody studies mythology. Not everybody knows mythology. Do not be offended by this question if you do or don't. It's an honest question. Yes, it's Greek mythology. Do you know what Pandora's box means? What it is? Good. Good. Great. Thank you. Just want to make sure I'm not using a mountain cat. Exactly. Cannot shut it once you open it. Exactly. Sammy Sparrow. What is the one item that remains in Pandora's box? Hope. Hope is the only item that actually remains in Pandora's box. The statement that the that Ronnie Lawson's office has made, I don't have the same opinion as others do. My opinion of it is that it's a Pandora's box statement. They've almost gotten through majority of the leads. They're hoping the ones that are turning out into being leading into 4 and 5 different more leads that they didn't anticipate are actually getting them closer to Summer Moon Utah Wells. Again, this is my personal opinion of what is going on. Hello, Ruth. Thank you very much for coming out. The statement they made is Ronnie Lawson, Hawkins County Sheriff, said, "We hope to have an update soon." It's Pandora's box. The longer this goes, you start to have to look at it as, no matter if it's recovery or rescue, you're crossing the territories of there's a missing person that has been missing for over 80 years. I don't remember the person's name. Never found. It's the oldest U.S. known case for a missing person. Hello, Lorraine. Thank you very much for coming out. You're getting into the territory of, it's Elizabeth Smart. Or there's a couple other girls that have and boys. I don't remember the names off the top of my head. If you want to put them in chat, go ahead and do so. But they've been held captive into their teens and 20s and 30s. Lisa Mungrain, no, I don't. They're saying they are hopeful that they will have more information soon. Another statement, very soon. Of course, the very soon is they're not giving an exact number of days or anything like that. But I believe what they said is a Pandora's box statement. Only hope remains in that box. Everything else is fled away, flown away, however you wish to say it. Right. The near future. Sammy Sparrow, I know of a few people that were completely unhinged yesterday. One of them was what he didn't like have a huge blow up, but Don Wells was just in his own little world again. I cannot personally get past. And the reason I'm bringing up the longer this case goes on, the longer that Summer is missing. It's the old phrase: if you point one finger at somebody, you got 4 fingers pointing right back at you. The longer this goes on and they exhaust other resources and they eliminate those other resources, those other people that are supposedly have been brought up in this, you get to a point where you only have the same 2 or 3 people at the dead center. We saw it with the West Boys. We saw it with Gabby Patino. We saw it with there was also the Bigsby. We're seeing it with Bigsby down in South Carolina right now, where his dad was just within the past week charged. The longer this goes, is the tighter that circle becomes around them. Right. God's girl is that's exactly what I'm meaning. What I was just saying that what I was just saying. The longer this goes, the circle gets tighter and more pressure around the family as they start to turn around and start looking at the family and what did the family do? Because that's the only thing they have left to look at. Unapproachable light. Exactly. All roads lead back to D and C. No matter what theory we could put out there, no matter if I'm right about that, what's most disturbing to me about the day, the June 15th, 2021, was the amount of time that they put in were spent in a parking lot at Priceless in a truck that had no air conditioning, no windows open, expecting a 15-year-old boy to be able to judge if it's too hot for a 5-year-old. Again, I do not blame that 15-year-old. Never have, never will. He should have never been put in the position of being in a vehicle in a parking lot on an almost summer day where it was approximately 80 to 85 degrees and there's no shade. And we've gone over in detail how that would have gotten in the length of time they were actually in that store to being 125 degrees in that vehicle. Enough to cook that baby girl's brain. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to paint a grim and bleak picture, but that's just the reality of what I think. Sheba Mom, you are right. It would be too hot for a 15-year-old. But let's put it. Let's think of it this way. A teenager sweats easily. The hormones are all over the place. Whether it's boy or girl, don't matter. Honeybees, honeycomb hideout. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. The purpose of somebody sweating is to cool their skin. Mountain Cat, thank you. I appreciate you doing that, saying that, because you're right, and I'm going to pull that information in just a moment. So it's easier for him because his sweat glands are developed more than a 5-year-old would be. That sitting in a car, have you ever sat somewhere and just sat there in a hot place, like a park bench in the middle of an open field or something like that on a hot summer day? You start sweating because your skin and your sweat glands work together to cool it off. Three Flying Doves, thank you very much for coming out. I was an education major when I was in college, and no, I don't pretend that I'm an expert. However, I had to go through human growth and development classes that when you do so, think of high school sex ed, but on a level that you're going from birth to adulthood, and you're studying not only the physiological, you're studying the emotional and cognitive development of a person. And everything that I remember, when we were learning about the physical, is that one of the things that a child cannot do that a teenager can do to the level of what a teenager can do is sweat. And as or not sweat as easily like a teenager would do to cool the skin, cool themselves off. And as Mountain Cat pointed out, and I said I was going to be getting to that in a moment. You have an extra insulation layer on summer. A tracksuit. So even if she was sweating, her body's still trapping the heat against her because the sweatsuit's keeping it in against her. This is why it troubles me about the time that was spent in Priceless parking lot. You make an excellent point, Sheba. When Candace recanted the events that happened that day, for when they got back to 110 Ben Hill Road, it's said, and this is paraphrased. If I remember the reason I'm saying it's paraphrased is, I believe I know what Candace said exactly, but bear with me a second. I might be just slightly off. That she got out of the truck, went to the door to get the boys to help with the groceries. And then she went and let Summer out of the truck. Summer was an afterthought. Summer was an intentional addition to the story of what the events were. Right, right. I completely believe. Me and a couple of the creators are in agreement, and it's not we came together and decided this is what we're going to agree. It just coincidentally was that we all agree with this whole story, with the whole idea of a accidental demise, and if somebody is covering it up. Now, please understand if you hear me on other channels, which often I do talk on with other creators. I also believe that there was potentially uh, I'm going to say cocktail, but don't think it as being a cocktail of drinks. Think of it more of I buy into that she was being given Benadryl. I believe that she was also being given melatonin. And I also believe that that drink on the back seat of the car of the truck was not a sun kissed. Carrie, there you go. Thank you very much. I believe that that substance could have been something from the hippie hop shop that they went to, um, uh, and could have gotten a drink mix that had THC, or even had which actually is illegal here in Tennessee, but it could have been um, forgetting off the top of my head what it's called, but whatever it is that doesn't have the THC, and it was mixed up in that drink. Butterfly Kisses. No, I have not heard of that. About a fender bender at the Dollar General. Yes, that's it. CBD. Thank you very much. There's a couple other items that are. We're just going to leave it as CBD, but there's a couple other items that are would do the same thing that could be mixed in a drink. And I found out that there is one that actually looks like Sunkist when you mix it up. It has the same orange color with one of its flavors. I believe that the combination of the three could have been it could have been a contributing factor into what happened to Summer that day. Yeah, I agree with that. So if you hear me on another channel talking, we talk about that. I have no problem. It just I'm not. I don't hide what I think. I do believe that there was a contributing factor, and I also think if you go back to what I very originally, very early on said, and some of the videos you can't find any longer, not because of anything to do with my channel, but the original channel that I was talking about true crime on does not exist any longer. But on my channel, I've also said that I believe there was something more nefarious that was planned that day for Summer, and the sudden illness interrupted that plan. Thank you, Carrie, for putting that out there. I still believe that the family had planned for something far worse than what happened. I'll agree with you, Wisconsin Mama, that the unexpected part of that was the sudden illness. But the behavior that happened around 110 Ben Hill Road and Dudley had experienced on the 14th when he was fired. The experience, the what Dudley had experienced, an example of what Don had been displaying by his behavior, was he was already grieving. Don was already grieving on the 14th. Butterfly Kisses, I have no idea. I have no knowledge of that other than it was an old truck. Rust could have, or damage could have happened to the hinges. I don't know. I'm not a car person. So you really are asking me a question that I cannot answer you. I'm sorry. Kiko, do I believe Dudley 100%? No. Do I believe him enough that he's not, in my mind, and it has anything to do with the disappearance of Summer? Yes. Again, we have to trust the information that TBI and Hawkins County is putting out there. Granted, they are allowed to lie to the mass public, to the persons that they have or as a suspect, to trick them into telling the true story of what happened. But I don't believe Dudley had anything to do with it. You can say that Dudley had motive because Don Wells fired him and how he fired him. But I don't believe that Dudley has that inhumane vengeance type of deal going on that he's going to go after your family. Honeybee, no disrespect, but the last comment I saw before that, what you just made was one word gave, and I didn't understand what you meant by it. Yes, Carrie's right. All persons or persons that are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Lisa Lou, thank you very much for coming up. We're out tonight. Appreciate you doing so. I cannot get past, my instincts say, my instincts lead me to exactly this. And we this on my channel, and when I say we, I mean my mods. I've not had the length of conversation that I've had with Carrie and with cosplay when she's able to be here, as I have with Miss Justice. But I've never seen Miss Justice disagree with me about my opinion. So I believe that she's actually right on. Believes pretty close to what I'm saying. Honeybee, let me go back and see if I can find that again. Hang on one moment, folks. Um, um, so Honeybee, the comments I'm seeing from you was when you said hi to Carrie, and then from there it skips to where you said gave. I don't see another comment from you until you asked me about the comment you made. I apologize. It's there. There's nothing that came through on StreamYard. I know YouTube has had a lot of issues lately with the chats, and I've seen it myself where it will actually do a Google display instead of having the chat. It will actually put up a little Google thing saying this chat an error had occurred or something like that. Um, I apologize. There must Well, Honeybee is retyping or coming up with rewording what she had said. Hunting Haley, thank you very much for coming out tonight. Honeybee, that is exactly what I believe and say and mean when I say I believe there was something much more nefarious that happened. I honestly believe that the much more nefarious thing, although a child meeting their demise is is nothing to shake a stick at, so to speak. The mental image that comes into my mind and the stories that a person has gone through or people have gone through when they are trafficked is far more torturous than a child meeting an accidental demise. Hunting Haley, thank you very much for coming out. Marie Kitchen, thank you very much for coming out. Ava, thank you very much for coming out. Kathy K, thank you very much for coming out. Again, folks, if I've missed you, please do not be offended. I try my best to catch everybody and say hi to them. Betty Smith, I know I didn't say hi to you, so hello as well. Yes, Sammy Sparrow, it is, from what I've heard of persons speak, it's a living hell. And it doesn't just go for that period of time that you're trafficked. It lasts into your adulthood and takes a lot of a very caring person or persons to surround yourself with, and a lot of help from professional help services for a person to be able to try to get past that. And some people can never do so. My channel does not take lightly the fact that we say that when a person comes in and we talk about a story of DV or is something involving DV, that we stand beside them. We don't judge them. We only encourage them. Marshmallow Kisses, thank you very much for coming out. I do see you. Thank you. And I do have 106 people in here tonight, as I can see. And I'd say 10 to 15, maybe 20 are chatting. So if you're part of the rest of the 106, please say hello in the chat. Become part of the family. Become part of the chat. Your everybody's opinion, no matter if you agree with me or not. No matter if I agree with you or not. Your opinion is welcome. If they do move to Arkansas, Mountain Cat, I want to tell you that's actually a compromise. That would be a compromise. because Candace wants to stay in Tennessee and wants to stay at 110 Ben Hill Road. Don wants to move back to Utah. Where does it leave the boys? We don't talk about the boys much here, but where does it leave the boys? Jazzy Jewel, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Honeybee is exactly right. Free speech is welcome here. Don't be scared. I am friendly. Might not always agree with each other, but we're here to have a conversation. Amy Lou, thank you very much for coming out. I do appreciate it. WR, thank you for coming out. I appreciate it. If you pay attention to other streams, Don has gone back to what he knows to do when money is tight. Teresa, I don't believe Don Wells actually knows what all Seventh-day Adventist beliefs are. I've read a good deal amount on a Seventh-day Adventist church. I can't believe what some of those beliefs are. They want to claim that they're a unique church, but the more you read about it, they're just a branch off of Mormonism. Elise P., thank you very much for coming out. Yes, she does. Yes. Candace has a history of violence, which has caused her to lose her children before. Yes, Chloe. Yes, he does. Guys, I did post the link to if anybody wants to join me on live. As I do normally say that I do, if I need to have reserved spots for a creator, I will do so. But anybody is truly welcome to come up and join me. I didn't want to focus on what I thought tonight. I wanted to focus on what you thought tonight. The link is pinned to the top of the chat if anybody does want to join me. Wow, guys, I just noticed something. I'm not a stats-driven person as far as when it goes to my channel, but I have to give everybody a big thank you. I just happened to check because I had gotten a notification for my to look at my studio and or YouTube studio, and I also looked at the live. And thank you all. Tonight is not about trying to get subscribers, but I do appreciate everybody hitting that subscribe button and notification bell. I hope as well, the like button as well, and please share this with everybody. But y'all put me over 900 subscribers tonight, and I'm thank you very very much for that. That was not my goal tonight at all. That was the farthest thing from my mind, but thank you. Honeybee, I look forward to the day that I'm over 1,000, and it's for the purpose of that everybody can see that I mean what I say. I say what I mean. When I go over that 1,000, that monetize button will never be touched. Guys, don't feel like you have to thank me or congratulate me. It's a big thank you to all of you tonight. Let's keep our focus on Summer Moon Utah Wells, and that it's 2 years. 2 years. I'm not blaming law enforcement. I don't blame law enforcement for it taking 2 years. I actually blame the parents for it taking 2 years. I blame the parents for it taking 2 years. Well, Teresa, you're welcome to come up on my panel anytime. Anybody is. Right. Carrie, that's exactly right. They have lied from day one. I started off earlier tonight saying that I can remember, and I mean I can remember like it was yesterday. The 911 dispatcher call. To be clear, I'm meaning what the dispatchers put over the airways to the police. The very first description of Summer, Meme of Six, thank you very much for coming out. The very first description of Summer was that she was 4 years old. BB Diamond, thank you very much for coming out. I see you sneaking in the back door. I don't play the 911 dispatcher call going out. Because from the point that that 911 dispatch call went out, within the first 24 hours, folks, and this is where the Summer Wells disappearance got away from them. They never had a chance or an opportunity. The police did not have that chance or opportunity to gain control of what was going on. Within the first 24 hours, it was 6 descriptions. Six different descriptions of Summer Moon Utah Wells. How is the police supposed to find a missing child if they cannot get a constant description? That's another item that I cannot get past when it comes to the information that we know about Summer Moon Utah Wells being missing on 6/15/2021. Dolores, that's exactly what I'm meaning when I say there were 6 different descriptions. 3 of them were with her age and her physical description, and then there was a couple variations of what she would have been wearing that day. BB Diamond, I believe that is 100% correct. Some other creators might dispute that and say, "Oh no, they had a good picture of Summer from the get-go when the police arrived." I don't believe so. I believe that they did not have a good picture of Summer. If you listen to what Robin said when she talked to, I believe it was Chris McDonough, about that day, I believe it was her that said that she had to show pictures of Summer, so the police knew what Summer looked like. Yes, Sammy Sparrow, the first photo, the first almost reliable photo, only reliable photo from what I understand, was that photo that has circulated around. It looks like she's wearing a Christmas type of dress. Yes, it was Robin who gave the photo of Summer. Wisconsin Mama, that's an excellent question. How does that happen? I have a couple different thoughts about that. One of my thoughts is that Candace never called 911. And I go back and forth on this, folks. I've not come up with a consistent thought in my mind about this. I'm just putting this out here tonight. I very much believe that it is possible that one of the boys, when they realized what was going on, called 911. It's very possible. No, I did not go into Kingsport today. I unfortunately could not get today off to do so. So I apologize. I will be doing something on my own, hopefully, with a couple other creators that may come that have never been around Kingsport or the Hawkins County area, and are interested in seeing the area and actually getting to know the area from a local. So nothing's been confirmed or anything, but that might happen in a few weeks. Unapproachable light. I believe you're 100% correct. The information that has come off of 110 Ben Hill Road, and I'm just going to put it that way, the information coming off of 110 Ben Hill Road, we've said it as you need hip boots to get through the muck because it is getting just that deep, or had been getting that deep. I personally believe the persons that are responsible for what happened could literally come out tomorrow and say, here's what happened. And everybody that has talked about Summer Wells missing will never skip a beat. We'll talk about it, but never skip a beat, and it will just go on to the next day and a new story, because you don't know if they're telling the truth. Thank you, ICU. I appreciate you coming out and listening. Crystal, thank you very much for coming out. Draft time. Thank you very much for coming out. There's a link at the top of the chat if you want to grab it and come on up. I know you. I heard you were in downtown's Kingsport today, so please come on up. And my, of course, my mods are going to share your link out. And just like that, I think Carrie was one step ahead of me. No matter what, I keep coming back to this tonight. No matter what, we all in Summer's army. And if you want to put that hashtag in the chat, please go right ahead and do so. We all want to find out whether it is recovery or rescue. We want to find out what happened to Summer. Love Black No More, thank you very much for coming out. Lip Luck, there is a link at the top of the chat. You're more than welcome to grab it and join me. As well as anybody else is welcome to hit that link, grab that link and join me on StreamYard. Funny Face Brenda, thank you very much for coming out tonight. Appreciate you doing so. We all want to know what happened to this little girl. Hello, country girl. How are you doing tonight? WR, thank you very much. I appreciate you doing that, saying that. Your DNA on that, the thumbs up. Appreciate you doing that. Lip Lock No More, I appreciate that. We still got to get together and do a live together sometime when we both have ability to do so. I think we would make it would be a great live to do do a live with you. Yeah, the milk jugs. We've talked about that before. The milk jugs. The milk jugs. Honeybee, thank you. I try to. It's not to try to promote my channel or to get more people to subscribe to my channel. It's you. I personally think that you got to work with others. You got to work well with others. It doesn't mean you have to work well with everybody. You got to find out who you work well with. Yeah, you guys are mentioning the milk jugs. So I had mentioned in the live before that it's possible that that's a brand that is not sold at that particular store that they would have gone to. Yeah, it's possible. I'm not saying it was. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm saying that, that what we had found, what I had found on their website, that they have different brands now. And somebody, when I was talking about that, contacted that store and said that at one time they did have that brand, but they could not tell you what the date was that they discontinued carrying that brand. That particular Dollar General that's right next door, they're not going to carry that brand. Miss Justice, do I need to go ahead and pull out some maps and we take a look at the area? Is that what you're hinting at? Katerina Rostova, I think I saw you come in earlier and I don't think I said hello to you. I appreciate you being here. I apologize that I missed you if I did. Honeybee, I've actually set out a couple times to do that, but there's been some interference going on and I can't do that right now. I don't get what's going on. What's going on the fourth week in July? Oh, okay. I got what you're saying. So yeah, the boys were taken. It was about 5 weeks, 6 weeks after Summer had disappeared. That's when they were taking away from 110 Ben Hill Road. It's okay, Teresa. It's fine. You can come up and ask questions or talk with directly. I know some people like I work on telephones and I type a lot all day. So even though I talk and type all day, one of the silly little factors of why I started a channel or was considering even starting a channel when I did was that I was tired of typing. And I considered that it would be easier just to go ahead and say what I want to say instead of having to type it out. That's why I started joining panels and started and it ventured into me having my own channel. And I do appreciate you doing so. If you feel the courage to do so. So Funny Face Brenda, I have no idea who they're released to. All I know is they are in foster care. And if you listen to Don Wells' complaints about how well the boys are doing, um, it seems like they are doing very well in the foster care that the family that they're in. Well, Crystal, I don't know if you're fairly new to my channel or not, but I live in Hawkins County. Chloe Jade, from what I hear, again, what I've heard, again, it is rumors. As Funny Face Brenda is saying, you know how rumors go. But I think there are big clues in what Don Wells says when he's talking about the boys, and that they're actually doing very well. Although he complains about different aspects of it, like him saying that they're living high on the hog, and the way he said it is it's a complaint that they're being treated so well that the Wells themselves, the parents of the Wells, Don and Candace, can't live to that expectation. Mimi F6, thank you very much. I appreciate you doing so. Right. Well, unapproachable light, you just sledgehammered a nail. You hit a nail with a sledgehammer. Because if you pay attention to what Don and Candace have said and how they've acted, you have Candace, who was jealous of Summer, and the attention that Summer got from Don Wells. And then as time is going on, you got the story of Don Wells complaining, and Unapproachable Light is right. It's jealous that he could not provide for his children, his boys, that way the foster parents have done and have been doing. And there we go, back to the religion. And forgive me if I don't know the verses by heart or don't know the exact phrasing. But the Bible tells you, do not be envious of what your neighbor has. You can interchange envious and jealous. No matter if they live right next door in your own neighborhood or they live across town. And in this case, they're taking better care of your children than you could. Don't be envious. Don't be jealous of it. Drop and lock them. You're exactly right. Don Wells has, from the very early on, said that he will see Summer again in the resurrection. Trying to hide behind religion, trying to hide behind what the Bible says. He already dismissed summer's existence. It did not take long for them to pack up all of Summer's things as if she never existed. They tried to move on like it was nothing and not even skipping a beat. Let's never lose sight of that. Because they knew what happened to Summer. All this delay, all of this misinformation, this drunken tirade, drug encouraged tirade, prank calls, getting on lives and screaming at the creator and cussing him out for no reason because they want to talk about your missing child. You also have going on panels and doing anything but talking about Summer. I was on Crime Line and Lies the other morning. Trev, if you're still with me, I believe you were part of that live as well. And we got talking about a quote that Candace Wells made, or she typed out in a chat. I don't remember the exact phrasing of it, and I'm not going to give you the full brunt of it. But she says in that chat, she's not there to talk about Summer. Her focus was there to talk about another creator and causing drama. Miss Justice, it was Tuesday morning. Just to let you know. In 2 simple sentences. She summed up what the whole entire reality of her new channel is. And if you remember what we had said it when it came out that she was going to go and start her own channel, and she had a new nickname and everything else, we said. This channel said before that channel had even been started, it was nothing about Summer Wells. It was going to be nothing but a distraction away from Summer Wells. I call it like I see it. Hey, Betty Smith, thank you very much for coming out. We called it like it's happening. Trev, go ahead and grab that link if you don't mind. It's at the top of the chat. It's pinned. Join me for a few minutes if you don't mind. I'm not going to be much longer. There you go, folks. That's the exact quote. Trevor's here and remembered. Thank you. I appreciate you doing so, Trev. I know it's last minute and unexpected, and you've been out traipsing around Kingsport all day, which in the heat that today was about as hot as it was 2 years ago. It was about 82, 83-ish for the high for the day. But everybody, just so you can see, Trevor has the exact quote. We're not discussing summer. And I'm not going to go finish on that because I don't talk about that creator. But you can see what the exact quote is. I just cannot get past the idiosyncrasies the misinformation and the disinformation, the intentional misinformation that has caused this to go on for 2 years. Trev, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate your doing so.
Sure. Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Anytime, man. Anytime. God's growth, thank you very much for coming out tonight. I hope to see you around again. Before that channel, Can, whatever her channel is, before when they had gotten told that it was going to be coming out, I don't know if you had done the same thing or not. I know my channel, we called it out. We said exactly what it was going to be. And that statement we were talking about, still on the screen, sums up her whole intentions of that channel.
Mm-hmm. Let me just look at what she's posted.
She does not want to talk about summer. Don does not want to talk about summer. He'll do so when pushed, but he doesn't. They don't want to do it.
No, and she won't even talk to media. I mean, Don's continued to do interviews. I'll give him that. He did one today or whatever for the 2 year. I know he did some for media, but I haven't seen her on camera in forever.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just unbelievable. Hello, 120 Acres. Thank you very much for coming out. I appreciate you doing so. Yeah, yeah, that's another thing, and I haven't caught all of that. I haven't caught all of that, what's going on with that situation yet. But just the idea with 120 acres is saying here that Don went and spent all the money. What did he spend the money on? I'm not trying to insinuate anything. I'm not trying to suggest anything. It's a legitimate question. What did he spend that money on? Because living in a hotel like they had been doing, working in Arkansas, cannot be cheap.
No.
And it's not like you're going to, if you turn around and move out to Arkansas like they're trying to do, it appears. The value of the property that it would be Ben Hill Road, which is really another conversation for another time, is not going to be a whole lot of money. It's going to be the deposit on owning a trailer, not a house. Don't get me wrong. The way they make mobile homes, or the whatever they call them, they don't call them mobile homes any longer. They call them prefabricated or whatever homes. They're actually really nice, but the money you're going to get from selling 110 Ben Hill Road is nothing but a deposit somewhere else. That's it. Modular home. Thank you. Prefab, modular. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. But am I correct? You were running around downtown Kingsport going to different events today.
Yes, I was.
How was it today?
I mean, the emotion around the day is really somber when you go and look at all the flyers and everyone's gathering for summer. But there was a really good turnout and very well put together by those who organized the Summer's Day event. I really was happy to see that many people be out there at a well organized event that only had to do with summer and missing children, and kept the eyes on the focus of what matters.
Good, good. Did you go to what Robin was doing at the church, or the church was putting on?
No, I went to the two things at Warriors Path. I think there were supposed to be three things at one point, but I know one got canceled. But I went to the Summer's Day and then the Summer's Vigil, which was a little later.
Okay. From my understanding, what Robin was doing with the church wasn't going to get streamed, and they were kind of making it be where it was local owned, for more intended for local only. Hippie Grandma, thank you very much for coming out. The way it was being described to me, that's what it was. And I'm glad there was not the drama and stuff that was going on last year, because I don't know how much you heard it, but I know I heard it as a local, that they didn't want this happening. Locals did not want this happening because of some of the drama and some of the BS that happened last year.
Yeah, see, last year I was way less in tune than I am now with like YouTube and creators and all that. I've been following the case, obviously since we got the alert. Mm-hmm. But as far as creators and all that, I wasn't last year really knowing all of that. So I went to the swimming hole one and it turned out really well, but I heard there was a little bit issue with a different gathering or something. But This year today, like there was no drama. It was beautiful.
That's good. Kate Crosshay, thank you very much for coming out. I appreciate you saying hello. Yeah, I'll be honest. With the exception of what I personally did last year, and I have unfinished business that I want to explore further. I'll put it that way. Um, um, with going around to different areas and more on my own, um, that it was a little bit chaotic last year, and I'm glad that it was much better this year. And last year, I went to for a short period of time the vigil that Robin was involved in, and there was a little bit of distraction. I'll put it that way going on during the vigil, that vigil. But and I'll be honest, it was created by YouTube creators, not Robin or who the church that was putting on that particular vigil. And I think what Robin had put on and or put together with the church was very well done because it wasn't just focused on Summer Wells; it was focused on other missing kids from around the country, or if I don't remember if it was around the world, but I know it was around the country, around the U.S. Yeah, I'm glad it was more tempered this year than it was last year.
Yeah, no, for the parts that I was there for, it was great, and there were a
So,
lot of different creators there, and some that you people that some probably there didn't even agree with everything they say, but it didn't matter because it was just everyone there for Summer, and that's what was great about it. Nobody had to discuss anything else because it didn't matter.
so you're being asked a couple of chats, questions in the chat here. If you don't mind me throwing them to you,
Sure.
Trevor, what kind of booths did they have? I think they're more so what was going on. What was the different events that they had going on today?
The main thing was Summer's Day event, which lasted for, I think it was set for about 4 hours, and they had quite a few things, goodies and little treats if there were kids there, information about the FBI missing kids app, which I'm going to be doing a show on hopefully soon, just to raise awareness for that easy tool where you could put your child's information in and have it at go if your child goes missing. They had flyers with Summer's information and then ones for other missing children. Just a lot of good informational things and good conversations and a lot of pictures up and flyers up and different things people brought in, wreaths, a lot of purple in honor of Summer. And it was just really felt like a great place to honor and think about Summer.
Good. No sighting of the Wells, I take it?
No, they were not there.
Not surprised, to be honest. Let's see here. I saw another question here. It was kind of directed to you. Um,
I see one. Did they release butterflies? Yes, they did.
Good.
And some of that will be on the news as well. I talked to somebody there that was with WCYB, and they covered a lot there, interviewed a lot of people. They're going to do a big piece on NWJHL as well.
Sure. Great. Oh, okay. Another question that was asked: did you spot Tim Mullins by any chance?
I did
Today?
not see him there. No, I saw him last year, but did not see him this year.
There wasn't hair curlers and crime. First, thank you for coming out. There wasn't last year, from what I had seen, but I'll give it to Trevor to answer if there was this year. Was any members of LE or rescue squad folks there today?
I did not see any law enforcement officers. As far as rescue squad, I don't believe so. Nobody like introduced herself as that, but I can't tell you for sure if any of them are, involved in a rescue squad at agency or not, since they wouldn't be in like any kind of uniform or whatever, if that makes sense. But I don't believe either were represented there.
Baby Diamond. I think Brad, the last time I had known that he was actually in jail or under probation, he was actually told to stay away from anything to do with Summer Wells. From what he did. So I don't expect that. And I don't think that Trevor knows who 423 Chase was.
No, that was before my time of getting on YouTube and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. So, if a quick summary of what this person 423 Chase did, in the early goings on of trying to get things going for summer, since the family was not in the town, we really was not doing much in the way of putting out flyers or putting out billboards or anything like that. 423 Chase actually scammed a lot of people raising money to get billboards, and that he would he would actually go around with drones, with people with drones, and try to search fields and things like that. And it was just a big, huge mess. He took advantage of people that were caring about a missing child. Brokenhearted, thank you very much for coming out. I appreciate you do so. From what I understand, he actually landed up doing jail time for what he did.
Well, all I can say is there's no bar too low that somebody else won't exceed in taking advantage of something like this.
Right, as long as somebody has a shovel, they can dig under it further, right?
Yeah, and they will. Somebody will always want to dig further.
Oh man. Well, again, thank you for coming up tonight, joining
Thanks
me
for
for a
having me.
few moments. Like I said, I wasn't going to be too much longer tonight. I'm going on being live for 2 hours and 15 minutes now. And I feel like, no offense to anybody, I know everybody wants to keep talking about Summer Wells. I feel my voice is fading some, and I need to rest it for tomorrow for work and whatnot. So I'm going to be actually ending here. Trev, when are you going to go live next?
I'll have something going on next week.
Next week. Okay. All right, everybody, please check out Trev Time. Good creator. Does a lot of work with Summer Wells about making sure the story about Summer Wells stays out there and in a positive way.
Thanks, RJ, and I appreciate you having me up. I'm gonna hop
Absolutely.
down. You have a
Anytime,
good night.
man. Anytime, Trev. You're welcome here. Ladies and gentlemen, it is going on 11 o'clock at night. And again, as I apologize, I actually had a busy day at work, so I was doing a lot of talking today, and my voice is tired. And I feel it's just starting to fade away, and I need to do something to boost it for tomorrow's work. Country Girl, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And everybody else that has done so tonight, and very unexpected again, but a huge thank you to everybody that did sub tonight. Replay crew, I hope you. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen tonight to tonight's live, even if you have to do so on replay. I always try to mention them. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It is almost 11 o'clock at night. Do you know where your kids are tonight? If you do, no matter how old or how young they are, make sure you text them, hug them, give them a kiss. You never know how much that gesture of saying, I appreciate you, I love you, I care about you, can mean to that person. A little bit of a break from how I normally enter a show. I'm going to hang here for another moment or so, or a few set moments. Everybody would go ahead and put some yellow or purple hearts up in the chat. And for Summer Wells, we are Summer's Army, and we are not going to forget. We are not going to give up on finding out the truth. Whether it's rescue or recovery, we want to know the truth of what happened to Summer. Because that's what Summer's Army is about, is knowing the truth. Finding out the truth. Bailey, thank you very much for coming out. I do appreciate you doing so. Summer Moon, Utah Wells, 6/15/2021, Rogers, Tennessee. The only possible good known description is white female, blonde hair, blue eyes, 40 pounds, 3 feet tall. Last seen wearing, according to the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department, last seen wearing gray pants, pink shirt, possibly barefooted. If you have any tangible information, not something a creator has said about Summer Wells, please call Hawkins County Sheriff's Department or 1-800-TBI-FIND. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the evening. I'm out.